So for today's meditation, meditations, we all come here to meditate for, I think, 45 minutes. So just getting away from our homes and from our duties, it's a nice thing. It sort of allows our minds to focus in on the meditation practice, and basically, we're coming here to just sit quietly for about 45 minutes, and just to allow our minds to just settle down in the quietness and the peacefulness of this meditation hall. And sometimes I like to compare meditation to marinating olives. So the way you marinate olives is you pick fresh olives off a tree. And I don't know if you've tried it or not. Have you tried eating a raw olive? It's probably very bitter, hey, and not very tasty. So to get the best out of the olive, you marinate it. And you pick the olives, you get the marinade, you throw the olives into the jar, you close the jar, and then you put the jar aside and you leave it for, I don't know how long it takes, maybe a month or two, and then before you know it, you have these marinated olives ready to eat. And and the process of it over a period of time, getting something as bitter and as coarse as an olive, and then turning it into something which is edible and quite delicious, it takes time. And in the same way, when we come to this practice of meditation, our minds can be a bit raw, a bit bitter, a bit coarse. And sometimes we think, we just sit for 45 minutes and then all our problems go away. But, the truth is, can you marinate olives in 45 minutes? You can't. You've got to give it time, months, maybe years. I guess the longer you leave it, the better it becomes. And in the same way, when you look at this mind, you have to give it the time and the patience for it to settle down. And that's one of the ideas and thoughts that you should, repeat to yourself time and time again, is this idea that this meditation practice, it takes time. You have to give it patience. Every once in a while you may get lucky and have a good sit. You come here from a busy lifestyle, and then you sit down, and all of a sudden everything just disappears and becomes quiet. Sometimes that does happen, but it rarely does. Every once in a while it does happen. So, but if that does happen, yes, that's a good thing, because it shows us that this meditation actually works, and we can get peace and stillness from it. But for most of us, we have to do it the hard way, and that way is to come to these meetings, practice meditation at home, build up the strength of mind, and it's always said in Buddhist circles is, if you want to have a strong body, you go to the gym, you push weights, you run, you jog, you become healthy. That's how you become strong. But if you want to have a strong mind, a peaceful mind, you meditate. You learn how to let go. You learn how to allow the mind to just become still and settle down all by itself. And that's the beautiful thing about this. It's a path where you can actually watch the process happening. You're sitting down and you're looking at your mind, and you can see that the thoughts are slowing down. When you start off, maybe as a rookie, maybe 3 years ago, and then you look at your mind now, after 3 years. How is it? Is it working? Are you going in the right direction? And if you can see that you are going in the right direction, that gives you, the motivation, the energy, the happiness to continue on this practice. And that energy and happiness is a very important part of this meditation practice. Because in life, when we do stuff, whether it's our job, our friends, our hobbies, we do things which make us happy. We hang around the people which make us happy. We do the jobs which make us happy. And this happiness is something that draws us to like an object or to somebody. And in the same way, with the energy of the mind, the happiness of the mind, our minds can be drawn into this moment more and more, becoming more still, becoming more powerful. And the way of doing this is to be present in the moment, be mindful. This idea of mindfulness is an ancient idea taught by the Buddha, and now it's now it's quite an idea that university uses, psychologists, doctors, this like mindfulness therapy and this ability to just live in the moment, one moment at a time, so that our minds don't wander too far to the past or too far to the future. And that mindfulness, that ability to keep our minds in the moment, is a crucial part to developing peace and developing clarity in your mind. So when you meditate, that's one of the first things the Buddha talked about when he taught the sutta on watching the breathing, the Anapanasati sutta. And when people start to meditate, they want we're impatient. We want to get things done quickly. So we want the nimittas now. We want the 4 jhanas. We want enlightenment. We don't want to put the hard work in. We just want to go to as many classes as we can, listen to all the talks by Ajahn Brahm, and read all the suttas that the Buddha taught. And if we do enough of that, then we become enlightened. We don't have to meditate. But it doesn't happen that way. So what we do is we just go back to the basics. And the Buddha said, before you start watching an object like, breathing, or some of us like to do like the metta meditation, or, contemplating the body. What he said was to set mindfulness in front of you as a meditator. So basically what that means is setting up that mindfulness, that presence of mind, the ability to be in the here, to be in the now. And we just, we do that. We do that not only when we sit down, but we do that in our daily lives. The way we work. Where's our mind? You have to ask yourself. This path is also a path of wisdom, a path of questioning. So when you're preparing your mind for the meditation, before you come here, when you're sitting in your car, that as a person searching for peace, one of the things is to be mindful. So you're mindful, but then you have to ask yourself, what am I doing this for? I'm mindful and I'm in the car. What am I doing this for? So that I can drive. And in the same way, when you're sitting down in your meditation with your eyes closed, being mindful, ask yourself, what am I doing this for? I'm here to develop stillness, to develop peace. Because sometimes when we don't give ourselves that instruction, what am I doing this for? Our minds don't know what to do. It's as if we're meditating without a teacher. So we're just sitting down and we have no instruction. So what happens to the mind? It starts to think about stuff. It'll think about the past. It'll think about the future. And because it doesn't have any clear instructions, or because it's not questioning what it's supposed to do, then the mind will what will happen is it starts to carry on in a train of thought. And if you all meditated before, if you don't catch these thoughts early on in the meditation, then they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And they get so strong that you can't do anything about them. It's as if, you could say the mind is sick at that particular time. It's as, sometimes when you have a fever, and your body's burning and it's hot, and there's nothing you can do about it because the sickness is just so strong, and the only thing you can do is wait it out. And in the same way, when you have these strong feelings coming up in your mind, strong thoughts of whatever thoughts you're having, when they get too strong, it's just like a sickness, you can't do anything about it. But if you're mindful and if you're sharp, you can actually catch these things earlier on in the meditation, and you can just say no to them. You can see that, okay, if I continue on with this train of thought, it's just going to get out of hand. And you learn that through experience, you learn that through practicing. And the letting go happens when you start to understand that the train of thought you're having is wasting your time. It's taking away the peace. And we only learn that from sitting meditation time and time again. We ask ourselves, what's taking away our peace? What's taking away our happiness? And the answer's there. It's in your mind. When you see in your mind, when it's thinking, planning, fantasizing, whatever, what is it doing? It's taking away your happiness. It's taking away your peace. Like Ajahn Chah said, they're like thieves in the mind that come out. Thieves of greed, hatred and delusion. Things that occupy your mind. They are the ones that are stealing your peace, stealing your happiness. So when you sit down and when you watch your mind, you can start to see the spaces between the thoughts. And you start to learn that, hey, this is where I want to be. This is where contentment is. This is where, true freedom is. And just imagine that, when you're sitting down and there's nothing there. There's nobody there. There's emptiness, nothingness. There's no doctor, there's no crazy person, there's no happy person, there's no sad person. There's just emptiness, nothing, a sense of freedom. And you don't have to be, Ajahn Brahm to be able to experience that. You can just be anybody. This silence, this quietness is something that we've lost, in the society that we grew up in this, fast-paced world of computers, education, city life, living in a concrete jungle. Our minds are, conditioned, shaped to be active, to be looking for other things to keep itself occupied. If you can imagine, yourself living as a monk in the forest, in a small hut, in the bush, just trees, nothing really grabbing your attention, just beautiful scenery, a peaceful atmosphere. What kind of effect will that have on your mind? Just over time, your mind will start to, sync up to the environment that it's in. because it's hanging out in the forest, it becomes peaceful because it's syncing up with the forest. As people living out in the world, your mind syncs up with what's happening in the world. And that's the busyness, that's the turbulence that you'll experience. But nevertheless, hopefully, it may sound like, I live out in the world and I can't do anything about it. My life is so busy, there's not a chance in the world that I can't make my mind peaceful. Please don't think like that. It's a good thing that you're here, you're giving yourself a chance, you're learning how to meditate, learning how to become peaceful, and you never know, like I said at the beginning of the talk, that some of you may just come down after a busy day and your mind just, drops into like coolness and calm, and that's a good thing, because that's the thing that's going to bring you back to the practice. So I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to guide you for a little while, and then you guys can just cruise on to Nirvana. Yeah? Come on. Lighten up. Okay. Okay. So we sit about 45 minutes. So just get comfortable. If you need to stretch your legs or just stretch your arms or change your posture, then this is the time to do so. A time to just get as relaxed as possible. So just take a deep breath. Take 3 deep breaths and allow that to center your mind in this moment. And at the same time, just, feel this, quietness, this silence, this present moment. So just be aware of what's happening now. If you can anchor yourself in this moment, then all thoughts of the past and all thoughts of the future, all thoughts of whatever's going on, is not there anymore. And that's how you know whether you're being present or not. So just rest your attention on your body. Maybe just start like the soles of your feet touching the ground. Just feel those sensations. As for myself, I can feel my feet pressed up against my leg. If you're sitting on the ground, and just bring your mind to that area. It's a very easy thing to do. It's not rocket science. It's just awareness, pointing it, training it. So as you're feeling the sensations in your feet, just also try to bring that presence of mind in front of you. Like the Buddha said, setting up mindfulness in front of you. You can sort of feel that you can bring that sense of presence to this moment. And as you're doing that, you can move your awareness to your bum. Because your bum is sitting on a hard surface, it's something that is very easy to feel. So you just like before, place your attention in that area, and at the same time bring a presence of mind to it. And now just slowly run your awareness up your spine, and at the same time just give it a little stretch. Just allow the mind to linger there. A simple exercise like this. And now just run the awareness into your neck. As you know, for a lot of people, the neck is quite stiff. And just trying to soften it. I don't know how, but use your mind. Just give it a mental massage. A bit of TLC. Just give your neck a little stretch. And as you can see, simple exercises like this brings the mind into the moment, and at the same time gives it that presence of mind. Presence of mind is sort of like what it feels like to be in this moment. And then just run your awareness through to your shoulders, just allowing the shoulders to relax. And taking a deep breath when you're relaxing your body. And another place where you can feel in your body is your hands. So you just slide down your arms and into your hands. And just feel what's going on. Feel the temperature. The hands could be warm because we have them in our laps or whatever. And at the same time, the idea is just to develop mindfulness in front of us, to have a coolness of mind, to have a mind which is quiet, empty, with nothing in it. And then as we build up momentum, we can choose an object to watch. And an object which is a universal object for everybody, no matter what color you are, no matter what sex you are, no matter how old you are. This object is the breath. So just allow your awareness to rest on the breathing and just watch the sensations of the breath. Watch it go in, watch it go out. That's all you gotta do. So now I'm gonna keep quiet and we can meditate on our own. the meditation is going to come to an end. So there's no need to judge whether it's a good or a bad meditation, but instead you use your wisdom and ask, what have I learnt from my mind in this meditation? And the things that you learn from your mind is the things that will help you succeed in future meditations. So there's no need to judge whether it's good or whether it's bad. But it's good to ask, how was your mind and what did you learn from the meditation? I'm going to hit the gong, and after I ring the gong 3 times, you can come out. Any questions about the meditation? No? Everybody's nice and peaceful, rested, sleepy, now awake. Oh, thanks. Okay. Venerable Samangala. That's what it says here. I was asking you. No, just kidding. Okay. I'm Venerable Santutthi, and the person is asking Venerable Samangala, and that's him. So should he answer? Nah, he better not. Okay. When I completely let the breath work on its own, I often find it stops and I gasp. Is there some degree of control required, and is this common? Is it common? Well, I don't really know because I haven't been teaching for that long, so I haven't heard about people losing their breath when they're meditating. But when you stop breathing, then yeah, it can be kind of scary because that's connected to a fear that you may die. So if that happens to you, yes, and you said to use some degree of control to regain your breathing, then yeah, just bring your attention back to your breathing, and just catch your breath and just allow your breath to slow down a bit. But what happens when you meditate, when you get deeper in your meditation, the breath starts to disappear. You sort of lose it from your consciousness because the mind is getting stronger. But the breath is still there, but it's very soft. It's very gentle. And it comes to a point where your body is so rested that you don't have to breathe that much. When you're exercising, when you're running, you need to breathe a lot to get the energy going and stuff like that. But when you're sitting down settled, you don't have to breathe that much. It is known that when you get into the deepest of meditations, you don't have to breathe. You don't breathe at all because the body's so still. There's enough oxygen in the blood to keep the person alive. And there's been stories told about that. When Ajahn Chah was sick, he was in the hospital, he would go in and out of deep meditation, and the nurses would freak out because they didn't want to be the nurse on shift when this great monk would die. So they would ask the doctors to run tests, and they would run tests. They would get blood samples, and they go test it out. Ajahn Chah wasn't breathing, but he was still alive. His skin hasn't turned purple. He looked alive. And when the test came back, the actual blood samples shows that there was actually oxygen in the blood to keep him alive. So yes, when you calm down, when you're becoming more still, you don't have to breathe that heavily. So sometimes there may be a fear there coming up, thinking that you're not breathing, but you actually are, but only a very shallow breathing. Okay. Very quickly, my hearing senses get very acute to things both close and far away. I find this distracting. Can you please offer some advice? Okay. When you're meditating, when your mind becomes peaceful, it becomes calm, becomes mindful, your senses, they heighten. So you see more, you hear more, you taste more, you smell more. But the thing is, yes, your senses do become heightened, but also you become a more peaceful person. So a peaceful person does not get distracted easily. So it seems like your meditation, you're getting some good mindfulness there, but try to become peaceful and calm. Because usually the peaceful and calm one, they don't get distracted that easily with noises, with sounds. Like the Buddha, they would say, the perfect enlightened one, wherever he goes, he is peaceful. If the Buddha was alive, he can go into the city and experience all the noises, the buses, the bells and whistles. But because the Buddha is calm, because the Buddha is peaceful, he doesn't get distracted. So my advice for you is try to work on your calm and your peace. And eventually, that sound, it is sound, but it doesn't distract you because you have like an inner calm and an inner peace there. Okay. Third question and last question. While sitting meditation, I don't usually feel the breath in and out at my nose area. Is it okay? This T from Vietnam. I just feel the breath slightly in the motion of my body in and out. Yes, it doesn't really matter where you feel your breath. When I meditate, I just tell my mind to go to the breath. I don't look for my nose. I don't look for my stomach. I just tell my mind to go to the breath because our minds are intelligent enough to know where the breath is. We don't need to locate it somewhere. It's quite easy. We've been breathing for so many years now, and we know what the breath is. So it doesn't really matter where the breath is as long as you're watching it. That's the main thing. To keep it simple. Because when you start going, where is it? Is it in my nose? Is it in my stomach? Is it in my toe? Is it in my elbow? Things just get complicated. It just gets busy. So just try to keep it as simple as possible. Just tell your mind, it's intelligent enough. Where's my breath? And then your mind will find it. And that's how you do it. Okay. Any other questions? Going, gone. Okay, we finish. Okay, we bow to the Buddha.